Hello, everyone. My name is Ken Clark. I'm the editor of Hardware and Building Supply Dealer. And with us today is John Herbert. He's the General Secretary of the European DIY Retail Association, that's EDRA, and the Global Home Improvement Network, GHIN. He's a former high-ranking Home Depot executive. At the beginning of this 21st century, he was the president of the West Coast for Home Depot. And he's a former managing director of Nauber, a German home improvement retailer. He's knowledgeable, he's cheerful, he's always great to see on the trade show circuit. John Herbert, welcome to our one-on-one program.
Well, thank you very much indeed. It's very nice, Ken, to take part.
Well, we're glad to have you. John, you said recently at the International Builder Show, the Kitchen and Bath Industry Show, that when you were a keynote speaker for the Storehouse World Vision Breakfast Awards program, you said you've been to every major home improvement chain in the globe.
Yes, indeed. I've made 458 journeys throughout the world. There isn't probably a significant home center company that I haven't been or seen. And we started with 2 members, and today we've got 229 new members now, members altogether in our organization. It's been a wonderful journey these last 20 years.
What chain or business would you recommend to an American home improvement executive to visit?
Well, I think first of all, with the Home Depot and Lowe's and Maynard's, you've got 3, obviously world-class players. But there are other players that I really very, very highly respect. If you take Adeo in France, or Obi in Germany, B&Q in the United Kingdom, Bunnings in Australia, Sodimac in South America, also Max Build in South Africa I visited, and Cash Build are also 2 very good firms. There are some brilliant companies about, but Ken, it's not only the big companies. What I've really found is you must never overestimate anybody or underestimate. I've been very impressed about these journeys throughout the world, just how developed our branch is, and particularly in our organization, how they're always willing to try to improve. And, the motto of our association or our network is to learn from each other. And I think this is what we've been doing these last 20 years. And they're all taking part. Although I must say, to be being very careful, I find that the American companies are not quite at the same level of hungriness, if you like, to look and see what other people are doing and what they can learn from them.
They've been very profitable, according to the SEC documents I've seen lately.
Oh yeah, they're world class, and you can't fault them for what they're for what they're doing. But nevertheless, what I've found, and I won't mention, I could mention another company, but there's one particular company who is quite exceptional, very successful, very profitable, but still very hungry to see what other people are doing, and keen, and sending their people, sending out their young executives to see what they can learn. And this company is head and shoulders above everything else that I know throughout the world, but possibly with the exception of America, where, obviously Home Depot and Lowe's and Maynard's, as I said, are world-class players.
Maybe after the program, maybe if our reader wants to really find out what company you're talking about, John, they could email you. But we'll respect your confidentiality.
Yeah,
One more point about traveling the globe and seeing the great retailers is, what should an American executive look for when he visits, say, an Obi or a Bunnings? What type of things should be on the list?
I think just to see the difference, and why is it different, and why. I mean, you take Bunnings, but when I went to Bunnings, I was just amazed at the absolute power of their presentation. And somebody said to me, well, they've got no competition, but don't forget that Lowe's went in with Maestro. And I looked at one store, Bunnings store, next to the Maestro, and there was a huge difference. And you wondered, just to find out what makes that secret thing. But the other thing is, Ken, the one thing I've learned with all these journeys is that culture plays a very big part. You cannot take an American company and just put it into Australia and make it work. The culture of the people are so different. Walmart came to Germany, for example, and they lost a lot of money and they left again. And this is the #1 company in the world because they didn't understand the culture. I was 17 years the CEO of a German company, and everybody called me Herr Herbert, and I call them Herr Muller, Herr Schmitz, because that's the way it's done. Then the Walmart came in and changed the name, and everybody was Christian name, and people felt uncomfortable. And then they put a store greeter on the door, and he asked the German people coming in, "How are you today?" And they said, "What's it got to do with you? I don't even know you." So culture plays an enormous part in the business. So what is good in one country, what I've just seen in Panama, for example, and Guatemala, these brilliant stores, may not fit in Belgium, or, everything is a little bit different. And I say thank goodness, because you've got the cultures and the different people and think differently, and it's a different ballgame.
John, back at the World Vision Storehouse Awards breakfast, you brought up the topic of sustainability. You described it as a crucial, kind of the #1 kind of mission around the globe. Why did you bring that up?
Well, it's the #1 priority in the world today. I think, this climate change, this the climate getting warmer and warmer, and all the damage it's done. Look at the droughts that we've got in Africa. Look at the floods. Look at the fires we've got in Australia. We all know that climate change is playing a part. We really must, all of us, do all we can to reduce carbon emissions. It's the absolute top priority. But it's nice to see, particularly in our industry, I think what we've been doing is exemplary. And take America, of course. I just read the other day about the Home Depot, for example. They've saved 50% of their electricity usage since 2010. The water products that they've sold have saved 66 billion gallons of water, what they've sold. And they've saved 7 billion of kilowatt electricity by the energy saving products they've sold. And this is just one company, and all the companies all over the world are really concentrating on sustainability. It's amazing how many companies now have sustainable managers and committees discussing and looking at this. So I'm very optimistic that in our industry, particularly, we're doing a lot towards sustainability. But it does worry me, and seeing all these people in Africa starving because they've got, I think 5 years of drought now. It's been terrible. So we must all, as managers and people who've got influence to do things, do all we can to reduce carbon emissions.
John, is there a first step to anyone in the audience, anyone listening or watching this video? Is there a company that wants to take its first step toward a sustainability mission?
Well, I think the first step, I think, is with ourselves. I was in a hotel last week in Belgium, and I only used one small hand towel. I could have used 3 bath towels. It's this sort of thing. If you don't waste water at home, you don't waste water in a hotel. So I think the cutting down as much driving as you can. First of all, look at ourselves, and then look at our companies, look at our businesses. And I think everybody can play the part. And I think that every company CEO has a responsibility to put sustainability on the top of his list and make sure it is well managed, well organized, and that we are doing everything indeed to reduce our carbon footprint. I really do believe, and with a lot of knowledge on this now, I think we are quite exemplary as an industry in moving this way.
John Herbert, thank you so much for spending time with us on our HBSDealer one-on-one video series. Good luck to you in your mission, and good luck to the GHIN and the EDRA. And I look forward to seeing you on the trade show circuit.
Indeed, Ken. Always a pleasure to see you, and thank you for the invitation.